been a lot of fuckers to go over. Alright, welcome back everybody to another Heroes of Might and Magic Olden Era video. Today we have the Dungeon faction and all of their creatures. We have done every single other faction thus far with all of their heroes as well as all of their creatures, so please go check those out and don't forget to like and subscribe and let us get started. We got the Troglodyte here in tier 1. We've seen the Troglodyte before in previous Heroes of Might and Magic games from the Dungeon faction as well. Is a magic creature, is a melee creature, but does have a remote attack or a long reach attack that we have seen that is new in this game. It does do minus 50% damage, but it doesn't spend a focus charge either. Some abilities obviously in this game do and don't spend focus charges. This one does not, so that's interesting. It's nice to definitely not, obviously they're going to do less damage, but you're not going to lose as many troglodytes by doing it. Pretty bad stats though, not surprised. And then same thing for the Infernal Troglodyte, still has the Vicious Spit, but does have Toxic Spear, so leaves gaping wounds, causing the target to take plus 25% damage until the end of the next round. So it can be useful to obviously stab them and then use other people to take them out, but literally doesn't affect so many people. It doesn't affect undead, dragons, embodiments, and constructs, which is quite a lot of people actually. So basically just anybody that's living, which is still a lot of people too, but like that's a lot. And then same, a little bit better stats, not by much. But again, obviously tier 1, and then the Toxic Troglodyte still has the Vicious Spit situation. Is that one? Okay. And then has counterattacks twice per round, which is actually nice. A lot of people obviously only have the counterattacks once per round, so nice that they have a little bit more situation to help them in that regard to not necessarily stay alive, but pump out, make people scared to attack them in a way. Then Toxic Blood, when damaged, causes all adjacent enemies to take 25% more damage until the end of the round. Okay, so that can again be pretty useful. This one is doing more damage to the person. When you do damage this one, if you take more damage, they're going to be taking more damage. So it's almost kind of like you want them to be hit, but as a tier 1 you kind of don't, because my god. But nice little, passives there for the troglodytes. I'd probably use this toxic one, maybe the infernal one, just for the poison damage, but you would have to melee them instead of long reach, so just kind of depends. And then we see the Infiltrator here. Infiltrator always seems to be a little bit different from each and every hero's game. But living creature, melee attack, has blink, so instead of normal movement, teleports, ignoring obstacles and traps. So that's very nice. To be able to, blink around stuff, past castle walls, things like that. That's pretty cool, especially for a tier 2. And then a weak spot. Lucky strikes deal plus 100% damage, and the maximum possible luck is increased to 5. So that can definitely make them do some crazy amount of damage for getting that much luck and for doing that much damage for Lucky Strike. And then fighting style, hit and run. Returns to his original position after attacking, but deals minus 50% damage. Does not spend a focus charge. This is what we've seen from Blood Maidens, from Harpies, things like that. So you're going to go attack and then come back to where you were, but you're going to do less damage, which I can understand, because that was always a very strong ability in previous games for sure. Sometimes in some games they made it to where they would go attack, they can be counterattacked, but then they, return, but this one you're just going to be doing less damage, but doesn't take a focus charge, so it's free to do anytime. So that's nice. And the Guile Infiltrator still has blink, still has the Lucky Strike and more luck. Staggering hits prevents the target from counter-attacking until the end of the round. So that's pretty nice. You can go up and hit somebody up and not have to worry about that. Still the same hit and run fighting style if you want to use that still. And then has Shadow Strike. Deals basic attack damage to any enemy ignoring their defense. So it's basically just a free ranged attack, ignoring their defense, which is awesome. It does. This one does take focus charge, though. I know that for a fact. But I mean, free range damage with having that person have no defense, no matter who you're attacking, is pretty crazy. Especially if you're using one of the heroes that is the infiltrator hero. Which don't pay attention to mine. I just did a random one for this. We could look at these creatures. And then the other upgrade, all the same stuff, still has teleport, still has a weak spot. This gains +1 luck with every attack, so that can definitely make this dude get the lucky strikes going way more often, which is even scarier. Still has the hit and run, again like we've seen and talked about, and then Veil of Shadows, Veil. Cannot be targeted until the end of the round, so if you don't want this guy to be taking any damage, just pop this and you're good for that round. I'm sure probably in some ways you might still be able to damage him, but I would imagine it stops a lot. But can be useful for sure, if you don't want to lose any of them, or, you feel like somebody's going to come get you. They are definitely like somewhat of a high priority target for sure, but not bad for a tier 2. Not the greatest stats, but they have a lot of abilities that like definitely help them be very helpful. And then the first time we are seeing the Onx Dancer here for Olden Era from any game actually is a ranged tier 3 unit, has 1000 cuts each each attack reduces the target's defense by 1 until the end of battle. This effect is stackable, so essentially keep going after the same motherfuckers. Now, I don't know if you use this where you can choose up to 2 targets to range attack. You're going to be doing minus 50% damage to each one. Doesn't spend focus charge, by the way. I wonder if this counts towards that. If you're choosing these 2 targets, lessening both of their defenses by 1 until the end of battle. That can add up very, very quickly. So I don't know that it does that, but that's definitely something to keep in mind. But I do think it's cool that they can hit up to 2 people. Obviously, again, you're going to be doing less damage than you would just the one, but it can definitely be nice. Then we have the Jasper Dancer, so still 1000 cuts, still can hit to 2 people at once if they want. Draconic Blade deals double damage in melee, so if somebody pulls up on you, you're going to be doing double the normal damage, which is nice. And then Swift Strike enemies do not counterattack. Okay? So it's actually nice. Somebody pulls up on you, maybe they do damage, maybe they don't. You're going to be doing double damage, and they can't attack you back if it's your turn. Because I'm obviously guessing that you won't be able to, continue with your ranged attack because of that. Most of the time the creatures will say if they can. So that'll be nice. So you're basically just gonna, definitely punish somebody for coming into melee range against you, which is awesome. I like that a lot, actually. Aurate Dancer, range, 1000 cuts, and that. Literally nothing special. And the same stats. This has to be like bugged or something. Same stats, the only thing that's different is you have more initiative. So you get to go early. That's literally it, which who cares? So yeah, you might as well just use the Jasper Dancer. No reason to use that woman. And then the strong tier 4 Minotaur here, magic creature, melee creature, eager for battle, always has positive morale, and its maximum increases to 5. Morale triggering chance increases by 5% for each point of his morale. So yeah, you can. I've seen more often than not, Minotaurs are going twice every single time, which is a lot. Blood for blood, whenever this creature takes damage, its morale increases by 1. So yeah, just literally gonna be able to um, go so freaking much and so often. And has the Grand Slam ability, so being able to hit up to 3 total fucking targets. So 1 target and then 2 hexes behind it. It does deal minus 50% damage to each. Doesn't spend a focus charge, so it is free to use at any point, but it's honestly so nice being able to hit up to 3 people, even if it is minus 50% damage. Just an area effect like that is crazy. Especially again because of how high his morale is, being able to do that possibly 2 times in a row. You're basically doing, well, I mean, you're literally going to be doing the same amount of damage to all 3 as you would to just the 1 if you melee attack them. So that chance is crazy. Then the upgrade Minotaur Lord here. Parry counterattacks before the enemy attacks land. So if you go up to melee him, he's going to attack you first. That's awesome. Eager for battle, still with the morale stuff. Anytime it takes damage, it's getting more morale. We've seen that. Same thing, hitting up to 3 people. And then has Unyielding Will. So fully ignores attackers' attack values until the end of the round. So if you feel like you're going to be targeted, or before you do an attack, pop this so you don't take much damage at all, or anybody else's damage at all. So literally for a round, you're basically not going to take any damage, which is awesome. Definitely a super beefy tier 4 here for dungeon. Same stuff, obviously can hit multiple people. Morale, getting morale when you take damage, and then has Adrenaline Surge. Whenever this creature's morale triggers, its speed increases by 2 and its attack and defense increased by 8 until the end of the next round. Too. So not just that one. You essentially get it for 2. Which is insane. Yeah, no, this one's better. Because I promise you that morale is going to pop often, and you're getting that. All of those stats increased. That's crazy. Don't get me wrong, this other one is nice, being able to essentially take no damage, but the amount of damage, and honestly the amount of damage you're not going to take because his defense would be increased so high, would be insane. Insane. Yeah, Minotaurs, listen, from all the arena I've played with, I'm choosing this dude often because they are so strong. They are so good. They really are. Obviously, these guys are weak, small little hitters. That's some range. Medusa's range, and then these dudes are some nice, hefty area attack. But this dude is a motherfucking tank that does some big-ass damage potential, too. Excuse me. And then the tier 5 ranged Medusa, we have seen her before in previous Heroes games. She is back. Ranged unit, and then deals full range damage at any range. So it doesn't matter where you are, she is piecing you up. And then does area effect damage, which is nice. Obviously does less damage than she normally would. Doesn't spend a focus charge though. But yeah, if you got an AoE hit, there you go, instead of just 1. And then Slither Away moves to another hex within its movement range. Its movement is pretty terrible, but to get away from somebody, you might need to do that at some point, but it's not super crazy. And then Medusa Sculptor, so still range, still sharpshooter, dealing full damage at any range. And then Duelist receives no melee penalty. So if somebody pulls up on you, I don't really feel the need that you need to slither then. You might as well just do full damage to them anyway. Still has AoE damage if you want that. And then Petrification. Performs a melee attack and petrifies the target until the end of the round. A petrified target takes double damage from normal attacks, is immune to magic damage, and skips its turn. So if you can get somebody early, then you can definitely do some mass damage to them. Um, Honestly, I don't think that that's super good. I mean, her initiative is like obviously pretty mid. It's not great. Um, and then you would have to have somebody pull up on them and be able to get the double damage on them anyway. It's not bad. I just feel like it's gonna be very specific, not always useful. And then Medusa Queen. So still has sharpshooter, full damage at any range, counterattack. So this is what we've seen from previous games like the Succubus and Heroes 5. So if you shoot her with a ranged attack, she will counterattack that at full range, full damage, by the way. So don't shoot her from range, she will counterattack you, which this is the one that I like. And then Marble Arrows attacks reduce the target's initiative by 2 until the end of the next round. AoE attack, I think those probably go together. I'm not for sure on that, but it's possible, I guess. And then Slither, so obviously this one becomes worse in melee range compared to this one for a lot of reasons, but if anybody, you're not gonna fucking take any range shots. I mean, if you do, you're gonna fuck them up, whoever's range shooting you. So, very strong tier 5 there. And then the Hydra, which we have again seen in previous Heroes games as well. Doesn't have a counterattack, so you can go melee, hit them, and nobody will counterattack you, which is fucking awesome. And then Sweeping Strike deals damage to the target and 2 adjacent hexes, so up to 3 people, left to right essentially. Growing Teeth, this creature gains +1 attack until the end of battle whenever it takes damage. Okay, so the more damage it takes, you're going to keep increasing the attack every single time. And then hits all adjacent enemies, dealing half the damage. So if they're literally circling around you, you can hit, I believe, all of them. So that can definitely be very useful. And then we have the Chthonic Hydra, so still can't be counterattacked in melee, hit up to 3 people, gains 1 attack anytime it takes any damage. Jesus Christ, this thing has everything. Can hit all the people that we saw last time, and then when damage causes adjacent enemies to deal -25% damage for 1 round. Restores full HP at the start of its turns. We have seen that before in previous games for certain Hydras, like Heroes 5. All hands on deck. This creature uses creature's fighting style instead of normal attacking when counterattacking. Oh, okay. So this creature... Oh my gosh, okay. Uses this creature's fighting style instead of normal attack when counterattacking. So if they're attacked, when they counterattack, they're going to be hitting all enemies, which is crazy. I wonder if that would be still considered full damage or not, or if it would be that. Because it says they would use this when they counterattack. So, but obviously normal counterattacks are normal damage output, but I wonder if it says they're specifically using this, that it would be this -50% damage, but still either way, counterattack for area effect is awesome. This motherfucker can do it all, Jesus. Then the Infernal Hydra still has the whip strike there, can't be counterattacked in melee, up to 2 targets, so up to 3, gains +2 attack whenever it's damaged, so instead of 1 it's 2 now, to the end of the whole battle 2, and then has Weakening Venom. Attacks cause the target to deal -25% damage for 2 rounds. Okay. So basically, do you want more attack and make people worse, or do you want to... I mean, I think this one is better. This motherfucker has like the full, damn near full thing on each side. Then we have the tier 7 cave dragon. It's almost always a dragon for dungeon at tier 7. Obviously, it says so here. Melee, flying, dragon breath strike. Deals damage to the target and the hex directly behind it. So you definitely have to get the right angle, but lots of damage there. Magic immunity 4, so immune to tier 4 or lower spells and creatures' abilities. So this motherfucker's going to be hard to kill for sure. Performs a cone strike, dealing a little bit less damage because of it, but doesn't cost a focus charge. And then Enter Flame until the end of the next round, deals 50 times the amount of units magic damage when attacked in melee. Okay, so definitely a nice defensive effect there if you feel like people are going to be piecing you up. Not bad. Then the Black Dragon here, so same things that we've seen. Okay, this one's immune to tier 5 or lower, so basically just fully magic immune for the most part. Fires of Dominion gives 1 morale and luck to friendly creatures and reduces enemies' morale and luck by 1. That's just for free. Passive ability, that's not bad, especially for your fucking Minotaurs. Jeez. And luck for the infiltrators too, plus, you know, just nicely lessening the enemies for free as well. Same cone strike, just doing a little bit less damage, and same inner flame, sorry. Making it to where you'll make them take some damage for damaging you for a round. Same stuff, tier 5 or lower magic immunity, and then has dominating presence. All adjacent enemies always deal minimum damage. And with how much speed and initiative you have, you can definitely massively affect a lot of people to do as minimum damage as possible. Still has the cone strike, still has inner flame when you're attacked in melee, and then has dragon flight. Moves to any hex dealing 100% and that amount of units damage. Basic attack damage to all adjacent creatures and pushing them away if possible. So mass AoE damage for this one for sure, and making anybody near you do minimum damage, which is crazy good as well, and magic immune. So yeah, I think that one's way more defensive, that one's much more attack, but geez, out of speed and initiative, yeah, you're gonna literally go in and just fuck somebody up instantly. But that is all of the dungeon creatures here for Heroes of Might and Magic Olden Era. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. Check out all of my other Olden Era videos as well as any other videos on the channel. We'll give you guys a little sneak peek of this. Nothing is built here, obviously. But little background, got some looking like bats and shit flying around, but then some dragons. Maybe they're baby dragons, I don't know. We don't make those decisions. But I hope to see you guys in the next one.